Pokemon games have pretty much always been the same kind of shit. Some creepy dude who wants to try it on with your mom offers you a Pokemon because you're not allowed to walk into the tall grass yet, and your mom says, "Wait, that sounds dangerous and irresponsible. Where do I sign up?" And off you pop to go and be a Pokemon master or some such rubbish, and nothing has really changed for a long time. But when we talk about the different generations of Pokemon, I think we can split them up into 5 kind of loose categories. The before times but better, the DS Legends, the 3DS kind of try too hards, and, well, the now times. But why, when we talk about the best bunch of Pokemon games, do the DS games always seem to come up in the conversation? So I'm gonna tell you why. Before we get into that, I'm pretty new to this new Pokemon YouTube sort of space, so if you want to stick around and watch some streams and stuff, hit the subscribe button. You never know, I could provide you with some mild entertainment while you're taking a nostalgia gets us every time. There is literally entire freaking TikTok accounts dedicated to making you feel how old you are and how good the before times used to be. But anyway, that's a dig for a different time. The looks of the game, the storylines, how it plays, everything kind of just gets you where you need to be. It makes you feel like the good old days, but not the too old days. That made sense in my head. You know, these games remind you of the days before jobs and money worries and kids, and hell, we were kids once. We were young and we wanted to play these games, and now we're old and still want to play these games, but that's besides the point. I think the nostalgia of the DS games is something that always makes us look back on it fondly, even though Diamond and Pearl weren't particularly great. Platinum totally saved it. Everyone remembers how pissed off they were when BDSP came out and it didn't have any of the Platinum features, and you're pretty much stuck with 2 fire types as well. That kind of sucked too. The gameplay. The gameplay. To be honest, there's nothing really special about the gameplay in the Nintendo DS games, but there's also nothing bad about it. They seem to tidy up everything that needed tidying up. You know what I mean? Everything was kind of just good. You know, it's like when you get a football team or someone and there's no like standout player, but everyone just does their job and it ends up being a really good team. That was a weird analogy. But that's kind of how I feel about the Nintendo DS games. It's like everything just worked. Everything did it. It was good. It was just good. The games were the standard Pokemon game. You know, it was a new generation. And, you know, when Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum came out, they were just good new generation Pokemon. And I think that's why people go back and play them again, because, you know, those games back in the day, they were a little harder. There was a bit more grit to them, you know what I mean? There was a bit more, you know, you could enjoy them as an adult without feeling too weird about it. Right, listen. Linda, listen. Before everyone jumps on me and tries to kick my ass, Generation 2 games were good games, especially when they came out back in the day. It was like the really early 2000s or something like that. They were great. But they still suffered, in my opinion, from what I like to call Generation 1 clunkiness. You didn't really notice it until you go and get new games and then you go back and play the old games. Does that make sense? As soon as Gen 3 came out, you realized just how much of an upgrade it was. And that upgrade really continued into the Gen 4 games, and that's when we got the best remakes just ever. HeartGold and SoulSilver were so close to Pokemon perfection, I can't even tell you how good they are if you've not played them. If you've not played them, why haven't you played them? Go play them. It was everything you wanted in a knitted together Pokemon world. It was, I think it's what Game Freak intended Pokemon to be. Absolutely gorgeous looking games. Kanto and Johto together, and that was back when it was still you gotta catch them all. You could literally catch them all. They were great. Great games, but the remakes were ridiculously good. And I think that increased the hype of what the good Gen 4 games were. You know, they were just so solid. Generation 5 could possibly be the best generation to play, in my opinion. And I would know because I'm currently streaming Generation 5, so subscribe for streams every Tuesday and every weekend. Shameless plug, shameless plug. But although it suffers from pretty crappy, forgettable starters, no offense, Tepig, you're a great guy, the games are amazing, and it was a really good evolution again from Gen 4 to Gen 5. They were just really good, really solid games. And none of these games needed gimmicks to be good or memorable. They were just good. And I'm not taking anything away from Pokemon X, which was my first streamed playthrough. That was great, but it kind of stood on the shoulders of Mega Evolution. And then the Z moves were a total downgrade on that, and Ultra Sun and Moon are just meh. In my opinion, come at me in the comments, I don't care. But Gen 5 was the perfect follow-on from Gen 4. Anywho, long story short, these games just hit the right notes at the right time for when they came out. They've got the perfect levels of good gameplay, good amounts of nostalgia, and cool Pokemon, you know? Everything was kind of ramping up at the right pace. But these games, I think, are the pinnacle of what Pokemon has offered. But I might be wrong. You guys need to let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, don't you? Anywho, that's all from me today. Please, if you've got this far, you definitely like the stuff, or you've got a massive mod on with me. So subscribe or comment, like, all that kind of stuff. And I'll catch you guys in the next stream or video. Goodbye.